Good morning, everyone. I'm Felicia Bell from the Gulf States Regional Office located in Jackson, Mississippi. We welcome you today to another one of our risk management workshops. Today, we have an awesome guest, Mr. John Coleman from Alcorn State University. He will be speaking today about their vegetable processing facility as well as the demonstration farm. They have a lot going on there, and he's going to tie both of those things in today for us. We appreciate everyone joining us. Please make sure you stay on mute. And as we're going through the presentation, please drop your questions in the chat. Mr. John, you could get started. I'll pass it over to you. Please introduce yourself and give a little backstory of how you even ended up in agriculture.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bell. My name is John Coleman. I'm with the Alcorn State University Demonstration Farm in Mound Bayou, Mississippi, along with my coworker, Mr. Percy Baldwin, that is processing right now at the Mars facility. I have a background in family farm. I grew up on a family farm in Mound Bayou, Mississippi, a population of around about 2,500 people. My dad owned a farm that he raised cotton, soybeans, and a vegetable garden. All my life, we was farming, and my brother told me about, he was going to Alcorn State University, and he's seen so many opportunities about agriculture. A lot of people was going on internships and various things with the federal government. And he told me, hey, look, bro, where you going? I said, I'm gonna go to Jackson State University. I want to go major in biology. And he told me about Alcorn. He said, well, biology is something just with plants and soil and animals. You can go and get in agriculture. Man, I don't want to think about no agriculture. I'm tired of the fields and things like that. I want to go to Jackson State, to the urban city. And so he convinced me to go to Alcorn State University, and I major in agronomy, what do you call it, soil and plant science, and they have other fields now related to agronomy and plant soil science. And I have been with the Alcorn State Demonstration Farm here in Mound Bayou for 15 years. I'm the farm manager. I have my own farm that I raise soybeans and some vegetables. I raise I help people with a lot of community gardens in the neighborhood, the Delta Health Center, St. Gabriel. A lot of, if they see community gardens that are in the town or in the county that I'm particularly in, they know that Alcorn State University has a hand in. So I love agriculture. I love the dirt. I was out this morning at 5 o'clock in the morning. Before the sun it get hot. It's gonna get very hot today. We will be 91 degrees, hot and humid, and they talking about the heat index is 100 degrees. So I called my workers in to let's get in the field early and let's do our work, and then we can relax. But here I'm today discussing some risk factors that are with our farm, risk management practices that we can control our risk on our farm and at the processing facility. I would like to start off with a look showing of our facilities in Mound Bayou, and then I think as Ms. Bell bring me back, I will show you our facilities in Marks, Mississippi. Here's our facilities in Mound Bayou. Here's a short video.
Hello. It's always a great day.
Mr. John, do you want us to watch it or just hear?
Ma'am?
Do you want us to watch it too, or just are we listening to it?
Just listen, I'm just showing you a little thing about the farm.
Okay. Because yeah, we're not able to see it if you was wanting us to see it.
You cannot see it?
No, sir.
Okay, you cannot see that? Can you see that, Ms. Bell?
No, sir, we cannot.
What I need to do?
Mr. Coleman, do you see that share screen
Okay,
button?
yes.
Try clicking that and see, it should pull up a window. One of the windows may be that video you're trying to play.
Okay. And it's,
See if that works.
you got it?
So now
Yeah.
we can see your whole screen. So if you
Okay.
pull up the video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that.
No problem.
Okay. All right, okay, all right. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. Okay, okay, now everybody. Everybody can see?
It looks great, but it's a little difficult to hear. I don't know if you could turn the volume up.
All right, thank you once again for allowing me to speak with you today about some of the risk practices that we are trying to stop from our production here in agriculture in the Mississippi Delta. You know the types of risk: production, marketing, financial, legal, and human resource and operation. And I'm gonna tell you a little bit about production and about a little human resources. I can tell you a little story about human resources. About a year ago, you know, we've been dealing with COVID-19, and the process at this time of the year, I could say that about 1 year ago, Mr. Baldwin came down with, he tested positive for COVID. And people was starting to bring their peas into the processing facility. It would have been a disaster if I was not trained to operate the processing facility to help with the shelling the peas, packaging the peas to be sent to our Kroger's and our local stores. I was kind of nervous because Mr. Baldwin has been doing this for so long, and he has the techniques and all the know-how and things like that about running the processing facility. But I was able to come over and was able to listen to him when he was telling the farmers what kind of peas did he want and things, what kind of going scouting fields and telling them what time that the peas will be ready. I was able to fill into position. A lot of time at farm operations and a lot of times at processing facilities, and we have a small processing facility, you do not have that human resource that will help you in a time of need. So we ran into that problem last year. Mr. Baldwin was down for 2 weeks, and I was able to fill in for him, and it helped the production of it. So the farmers wouldn't complain, we would not lose peas, and we would not lose our customers, and we would not lose our marketing that we have with local Kroger's and the local store. So you always have to have somebody else in train.
Miss, can you unmute yourself? There you go. Yes, sir.
Did you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It just went
So,
off for a second. I'm sorry.
Okay, so that so I was able to fill in with him at the processing facility to help out with the risk factor that could happen if we did not have nobody in place. The plant would have been shut down, and we would have lost a lot of customers. We would have lost a lot of marketing. So you always have to have people trained to know your positions, even in your farm operation or anything that you're doing to make your business successful, your enterprise successful. I want to show you something else. You know, one thing we just went through in the Mississippi Delta, I don't know y'all watching the news or the weather. That was a big thing, our production. We had a big problem. I had a field full of peas. Percy came out and scouted. Percy Baldwin, he is the facility manager. And he came out and scouted the peas in the area that I am located in. And we have like 25 acres of peas that are planted in our region in the Mississippi Delta. All the peas was on task for processing the 1st of July, this time of the year. But we had a major problem. This is the facility that you was watching on the video. This is a demonstration farm that was in Bound Bayou, Mississippi. Here go the most thing that Mother Nature happened to do. We had 10 to 12 inches of rain. It flooded the whole field. It flooded the whole regions. We lost 90% of all peas during that operation. Now, Mr. Baldwin, he called me immediately because one of his biggest farmers in that area called and said that his peas were totally wiped out. Now, here's the problem. Now, here come panic set in. Mr. Baldwin is calling up all of his farmers asking, do y'all have any peas that are available for the processing facility? Now, he cannot go and tell people that are waiting at Kroger's and all these retail stores that he has lost all of his peas in the Mountain Bayou region. So he had to have a backup plan. And this is when you're doing your risk management study and things like that over the years. He has to get his farmers to stagger planting. And his farmers, all of his farmers did not plant at the same time. And he had different farmers plant at different areas. So he was able to not have the full production, but he can have around 60 or 70% of his processing availability. And it will pick up in the next coming months because of planning, proper planning. These are the peas that are in Mountain Bayou right today that we have started replanting. That field was full of peas June 6th and 7th. The rain came in on June the 8th and destroyed the whole region that I am in. Mr. Baldwin was relying on us to have peas for his processing facility. Now, but because of proper planning over the years for risk management, he was able to get his farmers to stagger plant, and he would have his production of peas. And that's what we always taught him. We don't know the uncertainty of what the weather will always bring about. Another thing, we always talk about GAP certification. A lot of time, a lot of our farmers are not GAP certified. And at the processing facility, it is GAP certified, and at the demonstration farm, it GAP certified. Because you got to understand that you got to have that traceability and knowing about where your produce is coming from. Sometimes, Mr. Baldwin, we do a mock recall on certain products. And on a mock recall, I have it on my phone that I might tell Mr. Baldwin that in certain field, plot number 1, that we might have a bad batch of peas going over to Mr. Baldwin. And he'll immediately stop production and send that back. But how can we stop that that percentage of mock recalls and that percentage of contamination? That's why we do field scouting. That's why we go and do visit to our local farmers, trying to see their practices. Are they using clean machinery? Or are their field is free from weeds, free from pests and things like that. So we can see even their practices, how they even harvest their peas with their containers and things like that. Because in that recall, or when that contamination happened, we will have to stop production, and that can become a risk in the processing to going to our stores and to our people that are with our local Krogers and things like that. They don't want to hear that. They want to see the production. They don't want to hear our cries and what we are doing and things like that. So we have to be very conscious of planning, and planning during the winter, doing planning in the winter months. When to plant, how to care for the plants, how to harvest the plants, and how to bring it to the processing plant. The thing, we have four stages I always call. We have the planting stage, the seed and planting stage. We have herbicide and pesticide stage. We have harvesting stage, and we have the marketing stage. 3 of those stages are very clear. We know how to plant. We know where to get the seeds from. We know how to control the weeds and the pesticide. But I'm gonna jump the 3rd stage. We know about the 4th stage is marketing. We have the market. We have the market with the Kroger's and other small retail places. 3rd thing, now we have stopped with harvesting. What about that, Mr. Coleman, harvesting? We do not have the manpower to get the peas out. And we really got to be monitoring how people are dressed, how people are even, we can't let them be smoking in the field and drinking in the field and things like that. That can contaminate our product. So now we are trying to get harvesters, 1-row and mechanical harvesters, so we can cut down the elimination of contaminating our product, even from cuts, bleeding, coughing, even COVID-19. We see a lot of stipulations that are coming about with the protocols of people sanitizing and things like that. So we are trying now, and that is coming up a problem with the new technology and the high cost of machinery. So we got to go back to the drawing board and seeing about how can we get some good machinery to get our product out the field. So that is becoming a problem with our peas coming out of our field and things like that. I want to get bring up another problem. Even in our processing plant, we have to have you have to wash all of your equipment. Make sure your machineries are sanitized, maintained. Even the people that are bringing the peas and other vegetables to the plant, that they are clean, bringing in good containers. Their trucks are very washed and things like that, because we are having problems with contamination and recalls and different things like that. So that's why we have to have good farm hygiene. Good farm hygiene is we have to have sanitation, proper washing equipment. We got to go out there and check the farmers, and this what can be a cost to the university or to certain farmers. When you have, even to the processing facility, he cannot just wait on the product to come to the facility. He has to go out and scout the field, make sure that the farm is up to the hygiene, that the product is brought to the farm in a good, clean, and sanitized fashion. So that's what some of the things that we do daily. We have farm visits, we have weekly visits, make sure what we know where our product is coming from, so we can minimize our risk when it comes to the processing facility. So a lot of things that that is going on at the demonstration farm and at the processing facility run hand in hand. And a lot of time, I was talking about about the mechanics, but we're trying to get the mechanical harvester, because you know you cannot put a lot of human labor in the field when it's raining, when it's very hot and things like that. So that's why we have to have mechanical harvester, because the industry for the purple hull pea market has grown. A lot of people are coming into the processing facility and asking Mr. Baldwin about the peas and want to put them in various stores and things like that. So that's why we got to get out of human labor. I don't want to, hand harvesting, where we can say hand harvesting, and we have to start going to mechanical harvesting. Butterbean industry is picking up. We have a lot of green in the winter and fall time. We have to go and check a lot of farmers, making sure that they are using proper hygiene when they are harvesting the greens, the leafy vegetables, and things like that, because we do not want to have that problem with recall. You might be saying, oh, Mr. Coleman just keep talking about recall. You can see that it's happening over a lot of our processing facilities over the United States, about proper hygienes and things like that. Because when one thing is affected, they pull everything off the shelf, and then you lose your money and you lose your marketing. So that's why we have to go to our local farmers that we deal with, make sure that we are checking and making sure that they are doing the right thing to limit risk to coming over to the processing facility. Ms. Bell, I can talk on and on about risk. I can talk on and on about our processing facility, but some of the things that we have to have, you got, just like you have a clean body, you got to have a clean phone to bring a clean product to the processing facility. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. We appreciate you so much for sharing that with us. Do anyone have any questions? I do have a few for Mr. Coleman, but we want you to add what you would like to ask in the chat, if you could do that at this time. And I can start asking questions, but we definitely want what you need answered today. So one of the things, Mr. Coleman, we think about so many things, and I thank you for tying in the demonstration farm and the processing facility. How do you mitigate runoff and erosion when you're like what you had to go through recently? How are you working? How are your fields, I guess, looking to somewhat keep your topsoil on?
Well, you don't understand, in the Mississippi Delta, it's real flat. And one thing, we don't have to worry about too much erosion and runoff. But one thing we are putting in practices from NRCS, I know that kind of inked you, Ms. Bell, when you seen all that bare dirt, that bare soil and things like that. We're working with NRCS, and they're putting in grass plots that we are no-tilling some of our land, and we're introducing some of that practices to our local farmers.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for that. Because yeah, it is, when you see pictures like that, you're like, oh my goodness.
And that was done, that picture was did back in 2019. When I first I was looking, I said, oh, Ms. Bell gonna see all that bare soil and things like that. She gonna say, oh, this is not us. But up in the Mississippi Delta, that's what we do, a lot of row crops and things like that. Yeah. So that, but if I was in the hill area and things like that, it'll be of great concern. But that's some of our practices, and we are getting into That's why I told you about NRCS. They are starting doing some grass plots on our demonstration farm that we can no-till all peas right in, and they are doing very good.
Yes, yes. No, sir. I always realize that we have so many different methods. And what Mr. Coleman is speaking to, just within NCAT's purview, because we're sustainable agriculture, he just know my past, how I've taught even before I started with NCAT. But we know it's so many different methodologies of growing and stuff. But yeah, we're wanting that grass, as you know, to get the root system regardless. So it's good to hear NRCS are assisting you on how to do that, you know, like if to be able to drill into that. So we just really appreciate you on that, and you know, getting that started to learn that methodology of growing. Other thing I wanted to ask you about, now seeing all of that, and I know it's probably been some flooding over the years, even though that's the most recent, but how do you mitigate risks affecting equipment breakdown when it's you know, a natural disaster, or if it's just a norm, you know, we walk out there and then our stuff don't work for us, the equipment. How do you all work with that? Do you have more than one? How do you mitigate equipment breakdown at both places, demonstration farm as well as the processing facility?
It's just like we have a car, and you want to have a good running car. And a lot of cars that ran from 200, 300,000 miles, you make sure that everything is taken care of. The oil is changed, you have tire rotations, you have recently checked your tune-ups and things like that. The same thing about our equipment. We do the same thing. We every day when we use our equipment, we make sure that we clean our equipment, wash it off, because you got to understand that we are a demonstration farm. People pass by our farm and they want the same thing for their farm. So we teach it. We like to lubricate our machines. We like to park our machines under a shed so it could be free from bird feces and all different things. Even at the processing facility, Mr. Baldwin is always on Friday. He do not hardly process vegetables because he washed down his machines thoroughly, and he lubricates a lot of his machines on a weekly basis.
That's good. So glad. Thank you for sharing that. We do have questions that I could start pulling from the chat. First question is, any insights on no-till practices with Bermuda weed pressure? Do you have any insight, or do you want me to take that question?
Yeah, you can take that question, but we have some, that's why I said NRCS has just started with us with, they was gonna do a field day this year with the grass plots, but it got destroyed by, we had a bad snowstorm during January, February, and I wish I could have showed y'all some of the pictures, and they did not believe that all their grass plots got destroyed by that, and they was going to do a field day with that. They was going to start doing a field day, but you can take that, Ms. Bell.
Yes, sir. Let me briefly answer that. So the no-till methods that's usually utilized, we do have our Bermuda pressure, but you interseed cover crop and you heavily interseed. So most of the time you're told to do X amount of pounds per acre. So a lot of times we add more than that. We interseed more seeds. So the seeds that you're planting, and this is after a cut through. So you a bush hog, weedy, whatever you need, animals, whatever you utilize to cut your grasses down. So everything needs to be, basically manicured. You have cut everything down. Then you interseed, and usually using a no-till drill is best. A lot of times you can it depends on where you are, but the soil and water conservation district, you can rent a no-till drill at some, not all. And so please check with your soil and water conservation district, but utilizing a no-till drill, interseed those cover crop seeds, and now they have basically a possibility to grow because you have cut out the Bermuda, Behalia, and all of the weeds that are there. They have a possibility of getting their first growth going before the grasses meet them. So you're basically just trying to overshadow, as well as the nutrient intake from the soil, you're killing the grasses with the intercropping. So that's kind of a fast answer to that question. If I didn't explain it clearly, please reach out to me for that assistance, to understand how to do that. Another question for you, Mr. John, and this is Mr. Stephan Walker. So this is our Stephen Walker from Pine Bluff. He was able to come on the video. So good to see you, Mr. Walker. He was saying mechanical harvest is wonderful, but it can create another problem for small farmers, which is handling bulk amounts of produce. So the farmers need to be equipped with bulk containers, forklifts sometimes, on-farm cold storage. Can you speak to that, how you all are assisting farmers with that don't have those type of bulk containers, forklifts, and cold storage?
Yes, and that's Mr. Stephanie. One thing, my phrase I always say, Rome was not built in a day. And that's what right now we're at the table talking about a lot of these things, because I mentioned earlier, I said production has speeded up, has taken off. Mr. Baldwin, people are calling for peas every day. His intake, his marketing tool is off the chain. That's why I said now a lot of farmers want to get into growing peas, but they don't want the hand labor. They want us to try to look into helping and finding money to get mechanical harvesters. And we are trying to build cold storages and trying to get refrigerated trucks so we can get these products out the field and make sure they are at the processing plant. Right now, we're in talk, the dean, the extension administrator, we're sitting around trying to find some money so that because we didn't know that this purple hull pea was gonna blow up like this. And it has taken off, and we are right now in the process of trying to get all of this equipment and things taken care of. But we have some cold storages at the demonstration farm and at the process that can handle it right now. But I know everybody is trying to eat healthy and trying to look good like Miss Bell and things like that. So we're gonna have to get a lot of cold storage, things like that for our vegetables to handle the produce that is coming in.
Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate that. Now, one of the things I can add is cooperatives. Now, a lot of us have mitigated a lot of risk by joining a farmer cooperative. Would you agree on that as well?
Oh, yes. And that's what we try to push a lot of our farmers, and they're creating co-op so they can try to get, and I know this new money, I don't want to talk about it and things like that, but a lot of these things will address about these co-ops can come together and find out the things they need, because like the federal government and a lot of these food pantries are buying a lot of food from a lot of these farmers. So it's a hot item, and there's a hot subject that is going on right now.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
Yes.
And how we're speaking of for as a cooperative is concerned is, joining a farmer cooperative assists you financially because all farmers are able to pool their money together to buy what Mr. Walker was speaking of for as containers, and that's harvest containers and so forth, to buy a forklift for their facility, and of course, pool their money together to do an on-farm storage, cold storage for themselves. So when we speak of farmer cooperatives, we're not just talking about just, meeting on a monthly basis. It is to pool your resources together, even equipment. Some of the farmers utilize equipment together as well. They share equipment and have various contracts and things that are prepared through the cooperative to make sure that that equipment is coming back clean and so forth, and that if it gets broken or something happens on a particular farmer's land, that farmer is responsible for getting it fixed. So you have those type of cooperatives in the United States that have, the legal paperwork set up to make sure that the farmers are doing as they supposed to. So next question is, how do you sanitize the equipment? Do you use special equipment to sanitize the larger equipment? How do you all do it, Mr. John?
Personally, use a part, a gallon pump, and he put parts of bleach and water, and he go around and sanitize his equipment, like on his major cleanups and things like that. So he has a process that I would ask that question and would put it on the thing for you, but I know that he used, and I worked in a processing facility too, and this is a sanitized solution that when you clean it, when you finish cleaning and things like that, then you spray the solution on there to keep the bacteria down.
Gotcha. But I heard you say bleach and water.
Yeah, bleach and water.
That's one, and then the other is an actual solution that can be purchased. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Okay, great. And of course, you all know it's so much on the market now, but those are at least two, because this is just an introduction. We want you to do the research for your operations and stuff, but we just want to give that basic information so then you could go out and research for yourself. Now, we have a comment, then it moves into a question. This is a rancher for over 30 years, but they would like to become a farmer, and their notion is to grow vegetables to donate to food banks. Are there any different expectations of risk that they would encounter from being a donor?
No, that's why I say you have to get GAP certified. And I like what you just said. Just try to find a local co-op that deal with vegetables and things like that, so you can learn a lot of techniques and what they're doing and what kind of machinery they had to offer and things like that. I was even when we was talking about co-ops, and I'm jumping the subject. I was thinking about Ms. Bell. That's why a lot of us as educators and people in different branches know how we need to join a co-op, or you are part of a co-op, so we can help increase these co-ops to be better and to be fundamentally foundation sound and things like that. And that's what I'm gonna become a part of a co-op, so I can help the farmers mitigate and help them to capitalize and be successful farmers.
Yes, sir.
So some things, about vegetable production and things like that, I will try to find a co-op that is local, that is already doing vegetable production, and try to find out how can I help, or how can they help me.
Yes, yes. And then to keep on with this particular question, that also, like, your produce could be sold to that co-op. That's what Mr. John is speaking to. So that would mitigate your risk as well. And then they said, would I have to get a certification? Usually the GAP certification and even organic, all of the certifications are usually needed if you're going to sell to the public. And so when it comes, that would be a question I feel like, maybe to your extension agent in your area because you're donating it. That's what's throwing us for a loop, because Mr. John is speaking about selling to actual industry, you know, putting the produce in the industry, but it's still your produce would end up in the public. So that's why we're feeling like you may need the same things, but we don't want you to incur a lot of costs if you don't. So please, please reach out to your extension office to try to get some more answers for your particular area. And the food bank that you're trying to donate, you need to talk with them and see their requirements as well. So it's twofold. You got to go on both sides. What do you need? And then what do the food bank require? For as your tax shelter question, please talk with an accountant about that. We don't have that expertise to be able to share that with you, but please talk to an accountant about, you know, your donation and so forth. Now,
Ms. Bell,
yes,
Ms.
sir,
Bell,
go ahead.
and just like what you just said, and you heard in my presentation about, I said the processing plant and the demonstration plant, or this demonstration farm are GAP certified. And that's why we go out there, Mr. Ball will go out there and scout the fields before and find out what you're doing. Because when you bring your product there, he is GAP certified, and he can market your vegetable, but you need to know he's going to, like you say, he is going to let you know what you need, give you clean containers to bring your vegetables in and things like that. So if you're not GAP certified, he is GAP, the processing plant is GAP certified, and they will have your product to reach the market at a good, valuable price. I mean,
Great, definitely. Thank you so much for that, because yeah, see, you had to clarify. Okay, great to hear. One other comment, FSA, which is Farm Service Agency, has a low interest loan to install cold storage facility. So that's the information that we're sharing with our participants. Another question is, what kind of chemical are used or recommended for cleaning? And I know you said bleach, and then you said also is certain solutions that you can purchase. Is that correct? Or could you, or is it any more you can think of for this question?
That's all. We can get that in the chat. That's fine. One more. Let me see. I think that's good. Hold on. It's just tried now, but that's all. I think that's all I see Mr. Ball using is bleach.
Got you. Okay. Now, another question is, when you look for funding to buy new equipment, do you look for funding through the co-op, commercial finance, or grants?
I think you look at them all. You try to find it all. You research it. But a lot of, you know, like you join a local co-op, like Ms. Bell said, when you join a local co-op, it will help you with these certain things. Because this partner might have a piece of equipment that you need and things like that. So it's power in a local co-op. And I think FSA will help out if you have a great plan and things like that. Will help you purchase equipment and things like that. Everything else.
So it's basically, like he says, it's whatever you feel is feasible for your operation, but go after all of it if you're able to, because yeah, each one have different requirements. So it would just be based upon if you have that expertise or have to hire someone to assist you with these various opportunities. It was one question I just thought of and I lost it, but I'll think of it in just a minute. Want to make sure we have all our questions from everyone in the chat. Let's see. I think that's about it, I believe. Please drop your questions in the chat and let me go right here.
And that's what I even talked to you about a demonstration farm. And we have a lot of farmers to come by and find out what we are doing, sit around, talk with us and things like that before COVID. But now COVID is kind of dying down and things like that. I ain't gonna say it's going away, but a lot of people are coming back visiting and asking questions, and when we're trying to be a mentor to some of our farmers too. So that's to be nosy. I know if my mother was in the kitchen making a cake, I'm gonna go in there and try to find out how she is making that cake so I can make that cake too.
Exactly. We got to work together as farmers so we can both win. That's basically just always working together. One of the last questions, and this is, it's two questions, but I'm gonna kind of put it all in one. So market price fluctuation, how do you mitigate that risk? Because that happens. And then the other question that kind of goes with that is, what's your risk management plan when it comes to policy? So government policy change for GAP certification, that, all of that can affect your pricing. And of course, it keeps breaking it down to the farmer. It can affect the farmer as well.
Well, at first, when the market price, and that's why I always say it about planning. And I know that's what my administrator always tell us about. I said, I want to do the program. He said, have you planned for it?
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about planning, and it's all about planning in the wintertime. And we have meetings on things like that about Percy. He goes and meet with the people that he's gonna sell with, and then he come back and have a meeting with the farmers and have this price locked in. That's a price that Mr. Baldwin have locked in. And he come back and tell the farmers what he's going to, it's not going to be fluctuated. It's not going in different directions. It's just like our peas. And so I'm gonna just do off the question, and I don't want to, he asked the farmer what you think, and then he goes to the market person and he locks the peas into about $10 a bushel. I'm just saying, it's not that. Mm-hmm. It's about $10 a bushel. And that's what the price is going to go all throughout for that summer until he can go back and talk to them again. Mm-hmm. It's not a fluctuating price on anything. And how about changing policy? That's why we go to these different GAP certifications, classes or seminars or workshop yearly. So you can be abreast of what is going on, where it's the different changes. And they will send you some different policies and things that they're changing. And we kind of, with our people that certify us, do our GAP audit, they will tell us about different changes and this is what you need to do, and this is how you need to do in your plan. So you just got to keep yourself abreast of what things that are coming down the line and things like that. But about those prices are locked in from, he would talk to you. It's not fluctuate, the prices do not fluctuate during the summertime.
So meaning they don't fluctuate during that season.
That season.
So every season, Mr. Baldwin is going to lock in the price. Am I understanding it correctly?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
okay, now I understand. Okay, yeah. So that is helpful now for farmers because they know what they're going to make. Whereas if you're a farmer by yourself, it can fluctuate on you if you're dealing with the market yourself. I can see how working with the processing facility is a positive, a plus for farmers.
Yes.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah, you know what you're gonna get. You know what you're getting.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, that is really, really good. So one of the things we want to close out with all the participants and ones that even would be watching this later, you have to plan ahead. You have to plan ahead. And we want you, for all of us, Mr. John, that's Alcorn and NCAT, you got to start looking and creating a risk management plan. Most people do not have that. We are on our farms. We think of the risk. We know the risk, like we see things on our farm. But now, what if you have a volunteer or an employee you hire and you're not on the farm? So those types of things need to be in writing. They need to be laminated and put up in, your barn, your shed, so these people can see what your processes are if this occurs. So then when you get there, it's not a problem. When you get back to the farm, they have done exactly what you have asked them to do. So like I said, most farmers do not have a risk management plan, and we need to put it in writing. We really need to put it in writing. So that is the purpose of the risk management workshops that we are doing now. We do have some that we did last week, and please be checking out our NCAT ATTRA YouTube channel for those particular videos. Please give us several weeks. We do edit those videos and then they're uploaded. So we always ask, just keep checking back for those videos to be uploaded, but they will be there. Our next meeting with Mr. John is next week. And so it would be next Wednesday, but the time is different. So we want to make sure you understand that would be July 8th. And we changed the time to 4 p.m. Is that correct, Mr. John?
Yes, ma'am.
4 p.m. next week. So please join us however you are able to get to this particular workshop. You know, NCAT puts it everywhere. So please go back, find that, make sure you register. We want everyone to register, and then you'll be able to get the link to sign on. So, Mr. John, we appreciate you. We thank you so much.
Miss Felicia, you know, I'm always very, very soft in the heart when you ask me to do something. So, you know, I'm feeling good, and this is all about helping farmers to help themselves.
Yes, sir.
So thank you for NCAT for allowing me to do this presentation today.
Thank you. Well, everyone, we appreciate you coming today. Please join us next week, July 8th. This will be part 2 with Mr. John Coleman, Alcorn State University, with processing facility and demonstration farm risk. So please check us out next week at 4 p.m. Please go and register. Thank you all for joining us. Have a great rest of the day.